I would like to get into a sensitive topic. However, we need to face some of these things and have a clear understanding of what they are. I have said the Bible, it's a historical book that we need to look at in that perspective, that it's a historical book. And it is actually telling us of what has been happening historically and what is happening now. Because history has a way of showing you what had happened and what is happening and what is about to come. So history is a current situation that we are having. So when you are today, we are living here. In future, we will be historical beings. Some of the people will have books written about them. Now we are making history as we are now. Now I'm going to look at governance. Remember, as Africans, we've lived with our kingdoms in our tribes, and Europeans came and stole the concept. At some point in Europe, there were no nations. It was tribes and kingdoms. What we have today as the UK, as a US, they were actually kingdoms at some point. Like, because they came to us and stole the way of living. We were living in kingdoms. And what is a kingdom? A kingdom is a government structure. We need to understand that. Now, they took our government structure, which is our way of living, our kingdom. We had our customary laws, and they turned them into Roman laws, Roman Dutch laws in South Africa, and they turned everything upside down, but which they stole from us. Now, I need us to look at 666 from Revelations. I'm going to be going through Revelations, and I'm going to try and decode. I'm going to try and decode 666 for what it is, or at least what I believe to be out of my learning and my research of the Bible in particular. Let us go to Revelations 13. I want everyone that is watching this episode to go there with me. Revelation 13 reads, the first verse, "And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw the beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his head the name of blasphemy." What does the sea means? Because it says, "I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea." What does the sea mean in this context? The sea means a large group of crowded people. So out of this crowded people rose up a beast with seven heads and 10 horns. Now, what are the heads of the beast and what are the horns? Let's look at what are the heads. Now, the head in this context means governmental powers. Governmental powers that has influence over people. Remember, governmental powers that has influence over people. And what are the horns? The horns are the 10 kingdoms. Kingdoms of Europe. Remember, we said Europe was not nations, it was actually kingdoms. Your UK, your Germany, your Italy, your France, your Switzerland, they were kingdoms and tribes. Kingdoms that were fighting with each other over dominance. Now the heads is the governmental powers that has influence over people, and the horns and the crowns are actually kings and kingdoms of the European kingdoms. Verse 2, it reads, "And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and great authority." Now, who is the beast? Let us check who is the beast. It says, "The beast which I saw were like unto a leopard, and his feet were like a bear." If you look at Daniel chapter 7, it will tell you the leopard, which is the body, and the leopard symbolizes the Greek emperor. The leopard. Because the Greek emperor, they move swiftly when they go into war. They are very cruel. They are the people that introduced homosexuality. They are the people that introduced pederasty. What is pederasty? It is actually old men sleeping with young boys. They are the people that introduced that. They are the people that introduced homosexuality. They are the people that introduced the concept of a gym. And in their gyms, they would fight naked. And whoever wins gets to sleep with the one that loses. Women were not allowed in their gyms. They had Christian festivals that women were not allowed, because men would walk in there, drink wine, and when they're drunk, they started sleeping with each other. They are the people that introduced that. And we had what we called the Knight Templars. We'll get to that. Let us not rush ourselves. So they are the people that introduced that. So they are the leopard, the Greek empire. And his feet were as feet as of a bear. And the bear symbolizes which kingdom? The bear symbolizes the Medo-Persian kingdom. The Medo-Persian kingdom, it is the kingdom that conquered the Greek. The Medo-Persian kingdoms. They are the one that conquered the Greeks. They are the ones that actually destroyed the Babylonian kingdom, the major Persian kingdom. They are the ones that actually conquered the Babylonian kingdom. And his mouth as the mouth of a lion. What is the lion symbolizing? Which kingdom? The lion symbolizes the Babylonian kingdom. The Babylonian kingdom is the kingdom that actually kept the Hebrews that took them to captivity. The Babylonian kingdoms is the one that actually destroyed the capital of Jerusalem and burned down books and everything. They made a show that they actually destroy everything that the Africans has built. The Babylonian Empire. So they are the lions. Now we have the leopard as the Greek kingdom. the Greek kingdom which conquered the Medo-Persian kingdom, which the Medo-Persian kingdom is symbolized by a bear, and we have the lion, which is the Babylonian kingdom, which was defeated by the Medo-Persian kingdom. And the Babylonian kingdom was the one that kept the Hebrews to captivity. Let us move on to the next verse. And the dragon gave him his powers, and his seat and the great authority. Now, who is the dragon? And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wounds was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. Let us dissect that. Now, in 1798, General Mathia actually dragged the Pope out of his power for a while. That's why they said, let's look at the context again. The deadly wounds and the head were wounded to death. 1798, General Mathia drags out the Pope and strips him of his power. But that was temporarily. It was not a permanent scenario. So during that time, there was a rebellion. Remember, when Yeshua came into the scene, he was a revolutionarist that actually was fighting for land of the Hebrews. He was a black guy, black revolutionary that was fighting for the land. And he was fighting the Roman Empire. So the Roman Empire has always, it was the one that forced Christianity with a sword. It was the one that it is still governments actually go to the Pope. The Pope doesn't go to them, they go to him. It is the Roman Catholic Church with their Roman soldiers. The crusades were actually done by them. They had the Templars, the knights that were launching the crusade to conquer. And in those crusades, the knights will actually take young boys, their favorite young boys, to accompany them so that they can use them for sexual pleasures when they go to the crusades. So that has been the culture. So when the Roman Empire and the Pope took over the crown of the Roman Empire, he also took on the culture. He didn't only take the crown, he also took the culture, the Roman culture. So we need to understand that when we look at who is the beast. We are defining the beast now. The Roman popes were actually defined as Pontifex Maximum. What is a role and the duties of a Pontifex Maximum? One is to overseeing religious practices. That is their duty, to oversee religious practices. Number 2, to manage rituals. And number 3, to maintain the relationship between the gods and the Roman people. That was the role of the Pope. And the Roman Senate. The Roman Senate was a political institution in ancient Rome that served many roles. Amongst the roles, it included advising the kings, electing new kings, and actually becoming the main governing body of Rome. Now you can imagine a king being elected by the Roman Senate, led by the Pope, because he's the one that oversees everything. Now, these are the people that today came to, at this point, I want to tell the story of Morena Mushweshwe. When colonizers came to him, it was three. It was the Roman Catholic, it was the Anglican, it was Fora. Roman Catholic, named after a country. Anglican, named after England. And Fora after France. Now, when they came to him and they said, no, they were talking about God. And everyone wanted him to be part of them. They were recruiting him. And then he said to them, but guys, we are talking about one creator. Now, because we're talking about this one creator, why don't we come together as a unity and be one? Because we talk in the same language. We're talking about the same creator. But none of them agreed. Everyone wanted him for themselves. And then he said to them, no, guys, I'm going to consult. Come back tomorrow. And then he went into his private place where he spoke to God. And he said, God, there's something that is mysterious about these people. They are talking about you. And they are divided. And when I say to them, let us unite, because we're talking one language and we're talking about the same God, they actually do not want to do that. Now, that gives me a problem. Because if we are all talking about you, it shouldn't be a problem for us to unite. And then when they came the next day, he said no. Because they did not want to unite. They were bringing in division. And I had to tell that story because we are talking about a king here. And the very same people that are bringing division, that are the best, they are now electing the kings. And in our African culture, we know that a king is born. It's not elected, it is born. A savior comes to us, a leader comes to us. We do not elect them. It is through the lineage. When we look at Jesus Christ himself, we're talking about Yeshua. He came from a lineage of King Solomon, from a lineage of David, from warriors that were fighting for land. We have shown that in our episode 4, that when he came, he was looking for the kingdom of heaven on earth. Kingdom of heaven on earth. A kingdom is the governance of the people on the land. He was talking about the land. He was a revolutionary about the land. Coming from a lineage, he was the rightful heir of Israel. Hence, they had to kill him because he was the rightful heir from that lineage. But because he was not going to be put in his rightful place by the Roman Empire, they had to kill him. Because at that time, kings were actually elected by them, by the Roman Empire. And he said, no, I'm the rightful heir. I come from a lineage of King Solomon. Can you see what is happening in this book that we call the Bible? It's a historical book. We need to look at it for what it is. It's not the gospel truth. It's not the word of God. It's people that were writing their history. And we need to start understanding it as that. Because the minute we say it's the word of God, we are enslaving ourselves to a distorted book. And they worship the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worship the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? The Roman Empire. We've spoken now about how they conquered everybody. And there was given unto his mouth, speaking great things and blasphemies. And power was given unto him to continue 42 months. Let us dissect that verse. Pope Leo X, he actually said, the Lord our God no longer reigns, and he has appointed me as the power on earth. That was Pope Leo X. I'd like to repeat what Pope Leo X said. The Lord our God no longer reigns. He has appointed me, Pope Leo X, as the power on earth. It is said that the Catholic priests have the power to bring the body and transform the waffle that you eat every time when you go to Mass. That waffle, they transform it to a body of Christ, and you eat it every Mass. That is the power that they said the Catholic priests have. Just compare the verse and look at what Pope Leo X said, and look at the practice of every Mass of eating the silallo, the sacrament, and tell me what that is. I'm going to leave it up to you to conclude. I want to hear your comments. What is 42 months? The Hebrews calendar has 30 days. A month. Now, if you take 30, multiply by 42, it gives you 1,260 days. And then go to the book of Ezekiel, where it talks about days, where it says a year will be equal to a day. Now, if you take 1,260 days and take Ezekiel, which a year is equals to a day, that gives you 1,260 years. What is the significance of the 1,260 years? The Roman Empire fell, and in 538, it was given back its power by Clovis, the Frenchman, and it ruled. And then in 1798, General Mathia dragged out the Pope for a while. Now, if you take your calculators and you look at 1978 and 1,260 years, it gives you 538. Okay, let's work it out. If you take 1,260 and you add 538, 1,260 and you add 538, it gives you 1798. So everything has a significance. The people that were writing these books, they were revealing. Revelation is a book of revealing things to us. And these things were not happening now in 2024. They were happening then. And we keep saying Revelation is revealing things now. It's things that have been happening. They didn't start now. That's why we can even take numbers and calculate and see how they correspond. It is not a coincidence. It is evidence. Because if you do it, that's when you see this is what it meant. But if you're just reading the Bible and you are listening to your preacher who reads certain verses and others and he doesn't even dissect them, how then are you going to understand? So we need to move away from saying the Bible is the gospel truth. It's actually a historical book. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindred and tongues and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the fountain of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. We had said the foundation, the cradle of humankind, was here in Southern Africa. We were not there in the book of life. We have shown that. We wrote on walls in caves. We were not there. And who has woolly lamb hair? Go and check in the dictionary how they define the woolly hair. Who has the woolly hair? The Random House Dictionary. The Random House Dictionary defines it nicely to say woolly lamb in the form of hair. It's actually curly hair like our kafir. So when they talk about woolly hair in the Bible, they are talking about our hair, our strings, skirpot hair. That's what they're talking about. And when they say the foundation of the earth, they are talking about the Southern Africa, the cradle of humankind. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the books of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. Didn't the Roman Catholic Church rule over the world? And our government's going to consult with the Pope? So we need to understand this decoding of the 666. The most dangerous thing, and the one thing that the Catholic Church and the colonizers and the Western European people are afraid of, it's an enlightened, woolly hair, melanated African. Because the day you know who you are and you understand conceptually who you are, then that will be the day when you break away from the chains that are in your mind. Because we are slaves of the mind now. We have been colonized in the mind, and we need to break away from that. All nations where the Catholic Church is actually dominant, they are very backward. Very, very backward in terms of civilization and economic advancement. Look at Lesotho. Don't go far. Lesotho. Lesotho is mainly Roman Catholic Church. And look at the state that Lesotho is in. For an example. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with a sword must be killed with a sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake like a dragon. Another beast is coming up. And who is this beast? Who is this beast? Who is a second Roman Catholic Church when it comes to governments? Barry, the beast had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. The Democrats and the Republicans. 2 in the United States of America. Isn't the USA wanting to colonize everybody? Are we not using the dollar as a measure of our wealth? As an exchange? Isn't America seeing itself as the superpower? Don't you see the similarities between the Roman Catholic Church and the United States in terms of symbols? And let us listen to the newly elected President of America, President Donald Trump.
Christianity are the biggest things missing from this country, and I truly believe that we need to bring them back, and we have to bring them back fast. I think it's one of the biggest problems we have. That's why our country is going haywire. We've lost religion in our country. All Americans need a Bible in their home, and I have many. It's my favorite book. It's a lot of people's favorite book. This Bible is a reminder that the biggest thing we have to bring back America and to make America great again is our religion. Religion is so important. It's so missing, but it's going to come back, and it's going to come back strong, just like our country is going to come back strong. In the end, we do not answer to bureaucrats in Washington. We answer to God in heaven. Christians are under siege. We must protect content that is pro-God. We love God, and we have to protect anything that is pro-God. We must defend God in the public square and not allow the media or the left-wing groups to silence, censor, or discriminate against us. We have to bring Christianity back into our lives and back into what will be again a great nation. And I think you all should get a copy of God Bless the USA Bible now and help spread our Christian values with others. There you have it. Let's make America pray again. God bless you, and God bless the USA.
And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwells therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wounds were healed. Whose deadly wounds were healed. The Roman Empire fell. It was restored by the Frenchman, Davis, and then in 1798, General Methia dragged out the Pope for a while, and now we are having the second beast that exercises all the power of the first beast. We have given examples. and causeth the earth and them which dwells therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wounds were healed. Do we really understand this? We are having a problem in South Africa. We are having an American problem. Americans are actually ruling South Africa. Our leaders are getting mandates from the United States of America. Can we see this? Is it opening up the lights? And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had powers to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwelleth on earth, that they should make an image of the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. Didn't we have our pastors here in South Africa going to America, going to learn miracles? Are our churches not influenced, not having an American influence? Everything that America does, South Africa follows. South Africa has actually become a mini American. Everything. Even our youth are actually wanting to be like Americans. Let us open our eyes and look at this thing and correct it. Not only look at it, correct it. There is no Messiah that's going to come. There is no rapture that is coming. We need to resolve this ourselves. Yeshua was a black revolutionarist. He is not going to come and solve our problems. No. We need to wake up and resolve them ourselves. We need to look at this beast in the eye and call it what it is, a beast, and start conquering it like we did, because we have it within ourselves. We are made of the stuff of winners. We are made of the stuff of the ninth ether. We are the fully developed human beings. We are melanated people. We have the intelligence of the level of 9. We can do this thing. We can break free from the chains of our mind. We can. We really can. It is up to us to see it. It is quite okay to look at something and not see it. It is quite okay. It is quite okay to look at something and not see it. Because if you see it, it means you must do something about it. If you do something about it, you are afraid that you might lose your pleasures. So it's quite okay to look at something and not see it. But I'm saying to you today, let us look at it and see it. We do not have pleasures. We only have pain and sorrow. Our country is going down. Things are becoming worse and worse by day. The more hurricanes are in the United States of America, the more the US is being destroyed by natural disasters, the more pressure that we are having to actually allow them to take over our land, using any means that they can. Remember, Europeans have never had our interested heart. They never had. And it will be foolish of us to think that they do. They are having a crisis of natural disasters. And where do you think they're going to go? Why do you think they want a Western Cape to be a sovereign state? Remember, in America, people have sovereign states. So they want to come here and make Western Cape a sovereign state. And we are sitting and we are watching and we are doing nothing. We are waiting for the Messiah. We are waiting for rapture. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Christendom was forced by a sword of the Roman Empire. That we must remember. Council of Nicaea, when Michelangelo painted his cousin and made him Jesus and gave it to us, and it was enforced by the sword of the Roman Empire. And if you do not accept it, you will have to be killed. If you do not have the mark of the beast on your forehead or in your hand, you will not be allowed to do business. You will not be allowed to sustain yourself. Therefore, you should be killed because you do not allow the mark of the beast. Are we going to allow that? That is the question. Remember, we are the majority. We have the power. We are the majority. They are 13%. We are 87% Africans. When they came into Africa, there were 70, and Africans were already in millions when they were 70. With no culture, with no religion, with no name. And they walked out of there being 700,000, and they had a culture and they had a name and they called themselves Hebrews. They stole everything and distorted it. We knew no man sleeping with another man. Homosexuality was introduced by the Greeks. We didn't have old age homes because nobody abandoned their elders. We didn't have children that had to go under the state to take care of them because the child was raised by the community. We didn't have prostitution because women created polygamy, because women believed that every African woman deserves a husband. The polygamy system, by the way, was introduced by African women. It was not introduced by men. It was introduced by African women. And African women believed that each and every woman deserves to have a husband. And they would go out to look for a husband, a wife for their husband. The woman would go and look for a wife for her husband. That is why in our culture, if you have to have a polygamy marriage, the wife must agree to it and the wife must marry the second wife, because it's a system that was introduced by women to take care of the community, to make sure that we do not have prostitution, to make sure that we do not have men that are wandering around making babies and not taking care of them. It was a system that was introduced by women. It is only the Europeans that distorted it and demonized it. It was only them. When they came with Christendom and they said one wife, one husband, it was theirs. It was not ours. And it's not saving us, because there's a lot of hypocrisy going out there. People are not truthful. They would rather be hypocrites than to live an honest life. We need to move away from demonizing our culture. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark on their right hand and on their foreheads. And that no man might buy or sell, save he had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. I'm going to repeat that. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of man, and his number is 666. Let us look at this number. Now let us look at this number. 666. The Roman letters only have 7 alphabets. It is I1. It is V, which equals to 5. I want you to write this down. I is 1. V is 5. X is 10. L is 50. C is 100. D is 500. And M is 1,000. That is the Roman letters. Now, the Pope's crown. What are the words that are written on the Pope's crown? It's actually written in French. Vicaras Filii Dei, which is V, which is 5. I, which is 1. C, which is 100. A, it's 0. R, it's 0. I is 1. U is 5. And S is 0. I'm going to repeat that and we total it. V is 5. I is 1. C is 100. A is 0. R is 0. U is 5. I is 1. U is 5. S is 0. And the total there is 112. And we go to flee. F is 0. I is 1. L is 50. I is 1. And I is 1 again. That gives you 53. The second word. It's 3 words again. The last one is D. D, we had said it's 100. D, it's 500. 500, D. E is 0. And I is 1. Now let's add all of them. We have 112 plus 53 plus 501. That gives you 666. And thank you very much. We will meet again in our next episode. Goodbye.